everyone, welcome back to our advanced animation series. In this part we will start doing some blocking plus or breakdowns, however you want to call it. So we will start looking for anticipation movements, exaggerations, also cleaning up some arcs and adding some more detail into an animation. It's all about adding and layering more and more detail until we're finished. So let's look at our dragon. So this is what it looks like, to refresh our brain a bit. So we have our dragon waking up, looking around, checking the wing, and flying around in a twirl and then landing. This is all very blocky, but that doesn't really matter too much. Let's go step by step into making this a more smooth animation. So in our first part, we have our dragon here, and we have our control sets still here. So let's put our frame range to 50. So we made this tiny script here. Okay, now we have 50 frames to work with. So there are several ways we can go on about these breakdowns. So one way is to just put the blocked poses back to a default splined mode, or we can just start adding a bit more blocked poses until we get a more smoothed feeling. But what we want to achieve in this part is just nothing happening, since we want our dragon to feel like it's just a puppet. Nothing's really happening yet. So we put the camera here and let's see. So let's just play it. And it's around here that our dragon comes alive. When we make this first movement, we should do a little anticipation to get a curved motion between this pose and this pose. It's gonna be like this. So let me draw the blue pencil right now. So now we have A and B pose. So we have an A pose and a B pose. A, B. Now it's pretty straightforward. I press this button so I can see the A and the B at the same time. Let me just clear our entire blue pencil. So we have A, we have B, A, B. So it's pretty linear movement. And in animation, we want arcs. So we want to achieve something like this. Even better is achieving something like this, and going up, and then the next pose starts here. So we want the dragon to erase this one here. Okay, we want our dragon to go down, this to become C, and this becoming B. So we need A, B, C, and our C pose will be the dragon coming down again. So this point, that will be C. So we will have here our dragon going up a little bit to hold the pose and then go into C. That's the theory. Let me just clean up my viewport a bit so we can see only our controller and our mesh for now, and then later on we can go and check with the motion trail again the way the head moves and how it's acting up in our camera. Okay, let's start putting this into animation. The thing I would do for this small thing is using our graph editor as a base, or to get a base of movement. So let me put the camera here and put this on the default mode, which can be done by pressing A or pressing D on the keyboard. And now Maya will have transformed all the curves into a spline. You see? So let's get our small anticipation in. So it's going to be around here. The turret will be going down. In case I haven't told you guys yet, you can change your manipulator by pressing the plus or the minus key on your keyboard to make it bigger or smaller. That's why it's jumping around. This can be very handy while you're working plus or the minus key. Okay, so let's get the small anticipation in there. Instead of going A to B, we're going to go down around here. Down, and obviously our leg will also go down a bit. So you can put this in FK if you really want, since it's off the ground for now. But since it's only like a very small portion of the beginning, I'll keep it in IK and just animate it manually a little bit. So it's about like going down a bit, rotating. Now we're going down, and you can see the body going back up. Let's also add some rotation here. So these are end pose. Let's see what's going on here. Oh, so I can see it was not keyed here properly yet. So let's copy the 40 onto the 30. Okay, now we can see the body going up a bit better. Okay, so go down, up, and keep the movement going. So now we can add a little key here by copying 30 to like 26, let's say. Let's try that one. Use this position and create a little bit up movement. Oh, that's a bit too much since we're overstretching the leg a little bit. So we can have a come down. It's like this, the curve I showed you previously. It's like going down, up, and then going into this one. So it's a bit too much. So if it's too much, we can go in between those keys and use our middle mouse to click. So we're going in the middle of the movement, and middle mouse click on 26 again and press S, and now this new value, this in-between value is now on 26, copied. A bit higher. Also don't forget to introduce a little bit of weight movement on 19. We're going down. So we're going to support on this leg. So we'll have to move a little bit to the left. But that movement is already like going to the left. But we also need to tilt a little bit. So on the back legs, it's gonna be tilting towards the right. Very small bit. And on the front legs, it's gonna be tilting to the left. And now you have supporting movement. So now we can see it's going just up and down, our dragging between 26 and 30. That's because the rotation movement is finished already. Not to worry. It just means we have to remove or adjust the rotation on this one, or adjust on the 30. So let's have a look into our rotation. So here it ends, so we can just remove this one. Now we have going up and down, but we're still rotating up and down in one movement. And now we've done the body for most part, but we must not forget the head. So take the head controller, go down, and here we're going up. And same thing, let's remove the rotation in the Y here. You see, now we can really feel the head going down, up, down, and rest. Okay, now it feels like it's stopping very harshly. That's because we will need to introduce some move and holds. Move and holds are actually just a continuous movement of the previous key. Good example. is, for example, here, this movement of the going up and down, right? So we're going down. I didn't introduce an up yet. Do a small up. I did the up with the rotation, now I remember, but we can also do it with translate a little bit. Yeah. And then here we have our key 30 and our key 40 being on the same line. So a move and hold is actually doing a small continuous movement. So now we have our key 30, but you can see the small movement going into 40. So that's something that we should do. So we have a really nice slow ease out of the pose. So this is a way to keep your character alive, but also keep holding a certain pose that you want to keep. Since animation is all about appeal, we need to have appealing poses, but we don't want them to be floating around all the time. And to prevent floating, we will introduce move and holds. So where you will hold the pose, but keep the character alive by adding some smoothed out, eased out movements of the holded pose, and also you can add some layers of like breathing and that kind of stuff to really like keep it alive. But for now we will just put move and holds, and breathing we can add later on in our animation. We have a small continuous Y movement, as we can see here, and here we can put our move and hold. See, the value is the same, so we'll slightly push this up. What also is not super important, but something you can do, is flatten out this tangent. So the reason we flatten this a bit is so we don't have like a continuous ease out and it directly floats into the next one. So here we have, because we flat it out, we have like a flat point, and then the next movement starts. So it doesn't float into the third key. So it's 1, 2, where it flattens out, and then we have the third key. We don't want it to go 1 and then pass by 2 and go immediately to the third. We want to have like a small hold here as well. So we have change in value that we can see right here. And this is the frame for people who don't know. This is the frame that it shows. So 30, it's showing 30, and this is showing 40. Okay. This already feels a lot more alive now. So the thing that bothers right now in the animation is a lack of offset. So everything is moving at the same time, which is something I like to add later on when we have done some breakdowns everywhere. Let's check here in the camera, which is the most important part of the animation, is how it looks in the camera. So here it's ending a bit too harsh. I think you can put some more eases out here in the head. So we can continue our movement. Up this one and flatten it out again. I think we can finish a bit lower overall, so we can push this entirety up. And then we don't have to go so high. And let's now look at the neck as well and go through the controllers one by one and start adding this kind of movements.